Hello and welcome to Daytime Talk. My name is Shola Kusoko. On Daytime Talk today, we're looking at the educational sector. Now, just recently, we had the announcement that WAEC has introduced 39 new subjects, the release of subjects to be offered in secondary schools. On the program today, we want to take a look at these issues, the pros and cons and challenges. How favorable both to the private, the public, and of course the tertiary institutions. I have with me in the studio representative of the private school educational sector, public, and of course the tertiary institutions. I have the CEO of Global Educational Media Limited, who is an educationist with the private sector, in person of Mr. Adeboye is right here in the studio. Good to have you here. Good afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
I also have an educationist, and she is in the public schools in Lagos. I have Mrs. Stella Foban. It's good to have you in the studio.
Good afternoon.
And of course, the Professor of Educational Management, Lagos State University, Professor Tunde Samuel is right here in the studio. It's good to have you. Good afternoon. Now, gentlemen and lady, we heard that there's going to be 39 new subjects, and according to trade subjects, yes. And according to reports, it will commence this year, May, June, WAEC examination. First of all, how do you see the introduction of this new subject? Let me start with you, Mr. Adeboye.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Tucker. The introduction of this new subject, for me, in my opinion, is just a simple expansion of the frontiers of opportunities for Nigerian youth. It's not right to funnel everybody through one single channel. It's just good that we open up as many channels, that we cater for various vision of life, various aspirations, various aims, various characters, right? So the introduction of the 39 new subjects is just a welcome idea to me, right? And I just hope that key stakeholders, providers of education, particularly the government, the private school owners, and the government agencies that moderate their operation, key into this and work together with the examination body to make sure that the full benefit of this offering is enjoyed and taken by the students and by extension, our society.
Okay, let's go to the public schools. Mrs. Wabanwa, what's your view? Let's start with that first. How did you take it? Well, you heard, as an educationist, what were the first few things that came to your mind?
Thank you. When I heard about that, reason being that when you take students, and at the end of the day, you see many of them going to all these local masters of apprentices, teaching them what they should have learned in the 4 walls of the school, you will not be happy as a teacher, because most of the students may not pass the JAMB question due to laziness. But with the introduction of the 39 trade subjects, you will now see that right from the secondary school, from the senior secondary school, the students will have been well equipped with all the skills they will be going out to learn. And with the acquisition of skills, instead of them seeking for employment, they will now become
employers of labor.
Of course, they will be employing people. Because when you look at all these trade subjects like catering craft practice, like bookkeeping, like data processing, even GSM maintenance, if teachers in the schools, professionals, were to pick up all these courses, they will say that the courses will be well taught. And I believe, since the government of Lagos has accepted it, they will fund it. And which means, at the end of the day, the children will not lose. Then they will save their parents from spending extra money outside. You know, Lagos State is giving a free education, which is good, which I love in them. These opportunities, if the children can just make use of them very well, at the end of the day, the number of towns, area boys will reduce. Because everybody will have one thing or the other to do, instead of moving from one place to another, to
Okay.
cause trouble.
Okay. When it comes to Professor Samuel, because he, this introduction affects the secondary schools most, but the aftermath is on the tertiary. Professor Samuel, how do you see it?
I think basically the main reason for paradigm shift is to deteriorate excessive appetite for university
First years.
education. And with that in mind, the degree of joblessness will be short of the long effectively. However, there's always a big difference between a program is based on program. And that has been my own problem with major policies in the last 25 years. It is not going to be easy to operationalize college. Why? Because you will require a lot of principles, human, material, financial. From the angle of policy science, that's my major headache. It's a nice thing. I've said it here. So if you don't deteriorate excessive appetite for university education, joblessness in the economy becomes an impact.
Right. Now, when I looked at the list of subjects, you know, GSM maintenance, craftsmanship or whatever, printing, bookkeeping, and the likes of it. One wonders, the 6334 system, wasn't this what it was meant to be? Where is that not going back to that same, you know? Because at a point in time, you do the primary 6, you do the first GSM, and then it is not compulsory for you to go to the next SS. You go learn some other. Is it not the same thing? What do you think, Mr. Adeboye? And by asking them, I'm also trying to ask that what happened to that system did it not happen to this one as well?
Well, for all I know, the 6334 educational policy is still very, very firmly in place. People still go into our school system today to do 6 years of primary education, 3 years of junior secondary education, 3 years of senior secondary education, and if they make the pathway into the university system, most, not all, most courses are for 4 years, okay? And the only thing that is out of the way from the traditional program is just the A level, which I believe some of us here went through, right? That is still firmly in place. The only missing link that I can point to again is that after the first 3, which is the junior secondary school, some graduates of the first 3 are expected to follow a technical pathway. I think that destination became blurred along the line, right? And there is not much of absorption into that pathway. All right, okay. I just hope that the introduction of this 39 new trade subjects will now become that absorbent to funnel people away from that pathway into the second 3 and the last 4, which in the words of Professor Samuel, if I were to decimate appetite for university education. So I just hope it goes on that way. But everywhere you go, every educational system, even the one for which we pay a lot of money to send our children to in foreign land, they have their challenges. So these are the realities of our own existence. It is just as well you and me and us that will address it. It's not a problem. And someone shared with me and said, oh, 39 is just too much and the rest of it. Every level of government have the liberty to make their own pragmatic choices. Lagos State government, and I shared this with some very senior officials of Lagos State Ministry of Education, they have adopted their own pragmatic approach by selecting these trade subjects for which they believe that they have the capacity in terms of manpower, that they have a need for, based on what we need in Lagos State. It may not be what they need in Zamfara State, right, beyond the basic I mean. So Lagos State has chosen their own number of subjects that they know they can very well cater for, present students for the examinations, and record reasonable and decent success. And I'm sure also that there probably will be plans to take advantage of other the opportunities in other subjects in the future.
If we go into history, do we actually really have people who, I would say, can actually teach majority of these subjects in our schools? Do we have those kind of people on ground? Because a lot of them are professionals, but they did go through the teaching practice. So how will it work?
According to what Adeboye said, Lagos State has adopted 10 full subjects.
10 out of the 39.
Yeah, we adopted 10. Because they know they employ teachers in those fields. For example, now they adopted animal husbandry, which an agricultural science teacher will teach. Like in my school now, the man who takes agric science studied animal husbandry as his major. So he'll be able to handle that very well. Then the computer teacher will handle data processing, because he studied that. The home economics teacher will handle catering craft practice. Then the accounts teacher will handle bookkeeping, while in our own school, then dyeing and bleaching, that one is under visual arts. The arts teacher
will handle that.
So I think that was the reason why Lagos State adopted those trade subjects, believing that we have employed teachers who should be able to teach those.
Isn't there going to be extra load on those teachers? Because we have some schools that even an arm, you have like 10 classes of 50 students each in a class. I mean, this is about we are laughing. How easy is it going to be? Is it not going to be, too much load for the teachers?
It will be too much load, but the Lord will help us. Because the work has to be done.
Okay.
And in fairness, like that data processing, in my own school, we are still trying to do it this way, that for data processing, the commercial students should offer. Then for animal husbandry, the science students should offer. Then for bookkeeping, they go to the students. No commercial students, they already offering account, financial account, so they are okay. So they will take data processing. The art students will take bookkeeping. Then some other students, they will take dyeing and bleaching. So that at least when the teacher, all those teachers that will be taking additional trade subjects, when they teach their normal classes, they will still be able to pick those few periods on the trade subject. I know it's just for a while. But just like what Mr. Adeboye said, Lagos State has adopted the system. And I believe that what we have done now is going to be for a while. Because if they won't keep quiet, there are so many researches going on, so many solutions being sought in order to put an end to all these challenges. So I believe soccer will come. I don't want to be negative. Because the trust subjects are good for our students. If you are in the school system, you will love it. Although it's an additional work for all teachers. Not only for some of us who teach history and government. We have too many students, the workload is much, but the students still have to be taught civic education. They need to know more about themselves, about the environment. So when you look at the importance, you like to be godly, you feel, okay, let me do it. It's going to be for a while.
For a while.
Yeah.
Okay, now, there was a time a few months ago we were trying to do a bit of analysis on some of these services being rendered. When you talk about GSM maintenance and repair should be part of it. Now, we had, was an informal setting. And then we look at it, when you take your phone out for repair, it still comes back with a fault. That means when you take your phone to, whatever the problem is, you end up having to buy another one because the minute it comes back, the minute it visits the repairman, you know that it is, And now we want to take, there's some, okay, like some people will say, not all mechanics, when you take even your car to the mechanic, it comes back with another problem, if not the same problem. Now, it's like the manpower, the rights, yes, to teach to an expected end, not just to teach, to an expected end. And then to be up to date with what other what all other countries are doing, Have we gotten to that level? Can we actually achieve that with the introduction of the subjects? Let me ask Mr. Adeboye first.
Who was the first teacher ever? Who was the very first teacher ever? Right? So, there never was the first teacher. The early philosophers, right, demonstrated some brilliance, big ideas, abstract, and then some people find their ideas very attractive and they acquired following. They probably were the precursors of professors. Yeah. The Socrates of this world, the Archimedes, the Platos of this world. All right. And then they were able to do what they call schools of thought. And people were following these lines of thought and criticizing this line of thought along the line, making modifications, amendments, and all the rest of it. So if there are no teachers for these subjects for now, maybe because of my incurable optimism, right, and I'm quite happy with that. All is not lost. I went to a primary school in Lagos here, in Ltv'S, where I grew up. And in my school back then, Adeboye school, we had the man who was in charge of the carpentry. Yes. So it was a boys' school anyway. So we weren't doing cookery. So it was timetabled to go to the carpenter's shed. And what were we dealing with? We weren't dealing with things that are not, we were dealing with the chairs that we broke ourselves. Right? Yeah. And the old man there couldn't speak English as much, so we were talking Yoruba. And after the Civil War, the Igbo boys that came to join us were also taking the same thing. If all you will know is the description of, you take the hammer and you know this is what you have to do. We were very little boys. But the man without a teaching qualification taught us rudiments of carpentry. And we were quite, it was an enjoyable thing. I think it was during Wednesday afternoons. We're always looking forward to it.
So it really doesn't matter whether
it doesn't matter. We came back 2 weeks ago from a study tour. I was on the team of some of the senior officials in the ministry to the UK. This same issue was raised. And the response of the people, because it was a conference for educationists from about 16 or 18 countries, right? And the experience is that there are people teaching subjects who do not have teaching qualifications for it, especially in the vocational trades. You understand? People take cars from here to Ilori for spraying painting because they believe that in Ilori they are good there. People go to Abeokuta for one thing, they go to Ibadan, avoiding Lagos. We bring in bricklayers from Togo.
Oh, yeah.
We bring in welders from Benin Republic, right? Do we vet their qualifications when they come around? You understand? So let the man with the demonstrable level of skill show the little boys, little girls how to do things they are taught.
And then we move from there. Okay, I want to go on to Professor Samuel because he's he's a professor of education. Yes, because he can tell us, from the seed, he knows the kind of tree that is going to become because he's been there. Professor, let's look at this holistically. We've talked about qualification, we've talked about, human resources, we've gone as far as the practical now. How do you, as an educational manager, what do you think the picture should look like? Because, of course, they can say, okay, 39 subjects, we already have mid-array member. But how do we achieve success with this, especially in Lagos?
Well, I think really the because if we say we have to wait until we can produce adequate manpower to service and energize this current paradigm shift, we will not start it in the next 20 years. That's point number one.
Okay.
Point number two, curriculum or program tinkering or panel beating, which is what is happening now. It is a normal thing in educational management, and it's always been informed by what we call value gaps in existing programs and policies. You don't tinker or panel beat a policy if there are no policy gaps or value gaps. It is the inadequacy you have discovered that will warrant your tinkering or indulging in panel beating the existing program. That's the second point. Third point, under the federal system, the NERDC is charged with the sole responsibility of curriculum packaging. The National Council on Education is the overall policy gamut for education in Nigeria. And under federalism, each of the 36 states of the federation is free to choose its own development path. That's what the concept of federalism is. We are not duty bound, all of us, we are not duty bound to follow one single path. So I think we should be optimistic and try as much as possible to encourage the innovation, because to me it's an innovation. But by my training, my only fear is that my training that the end must justify. At the end of my training as a man, as an economist, government is not for the Christmas. We're employing thousands of teachers to implement this program. It is doing so because it has an abiding sense of responsibility to improve the surrender value of the consumer, which is the student in particular, and then to use that consumer of education to develop and transform society. So, as long as we can achieve those two, we can transform the consumer to make him useful to society, to be a change and development agent. No amount of money is too much to spend on the development of the paradigm shift.
Some weeks back, we had a discussion on this program like this, looking at the way people view university certificates compared to when you go to polytechnics and colleges of education. But this, with the way we're going, isn't there a need to reorientate people? Because what we're trying to say is, at the end of the day, it will reduce the hunger for you. But some parents still believe that universities, is there a need to reorientate? And how do we change their mindsets? Is that
You cannot legislate everything in life. One of them is love. Another one is perception. You cannot legislate perception. The most you can do is to remotely, using various other distant factors, to manipulate situations such that preference is adjusted to suit that manipulation. You know this Charlie campaign? You understand? So, the wage structure in a society is a very, very powerful tool for funneling people into different channels. Let me give you an instance. When there was an economic downturn in European economy, very recently, not too long ago, there was massive retrenchment, particularly in the financial sector. Now, Most of the people who were shed from their job in that sector had what I would call qualification in the numeric subject. Very, very quickly, university system responded by creating a special program for teachers of mathematics, physics, accounting, and chemistry. Short course of 6 months that will convert a jobless former banker into a super teacher. You understand?
Yes.
Very quickly. And people, it was oversubscribed. Yes, it was oversubscribed. Because the way they pay their teachers there, if you and I come out of teacher training today, it does not necessarily follow that we will get paid the same amount of money. Yes, a lot of your past experience that you are bringing into it as a 45-year-old teacher is factored into your pay calculation. You understand?
Okay.
So it's not a big, you won't be starting on level 8. You understand? You will be starting at a salary that is probably commensurate to, you know,
Your experience.
The experience that you are bringing is factored into your pay calculation.
That doesn't apply here.
Yeah, I know it doesn't apply here, but I mean, if we have hope for a good future, we won't be crying about our bad past. We just walk straight into the future happily, merrily, hand in hand. You know, that's why I believe in people collaborating and working together. You understand? So our wage structure is one tool that we can use to manipulate the perception of people. Because if you come out of the great uni wherever, and I come out from my own whatever you ever call it, whether it's glorified secondary school, you understand? Or I go to a village polytechnic and I come out. But the job that we undertake, the various endeavor that we get ourselves into, is able to afford us a livable wage, all right? Then I don't have to look at you like you're superior to me.
To me.
Be able to look down. And let me also tell you, artisans in Europe, plumbers, carpenters, refrigerator and air conditioner, barbers,
They
are able to, because of the way the society is structured, able to attract such an amount of money that will make a medical doctor envy them. Yes, that's why the university system today is a big earner, foreign exchange earner for the government of United Kingdom. Go to any of their universities, find all creed of people there, Japanese, Malaysian, of course Nigerians, you know, everybody comes there to buy their education. It's gotten even to a point now that you don't even have to come here to buy it. Stay where you are, pay for it, and then we send it to you online. And you don't burden our social structure, you don't burden our infrastructure, we still get your money all the same.
Well, you still get the knowledge that you
still get the knowledge, you get the certificate. But ask yourself, if you are going to pay as much as £6,000 sterling, which in today's money is roughly, say, almost 2 million, and to get a certificate from a country, you're never going to use that certificate to work in that country, for that country. Why don't you look for a similar certificate or go and meet a serious known professor in Nigeria to teach you that thing?
Right? And save the money.
Save us the money. Because you don't even just save yourself the money.
You also save us the money. But let's look at it. Let's go back a little, you know, because not everybody understands this, you know. Because we are in the sector, we hear, we know, we research, we understand. Have we had enough sensitization on it? Is it enough? Are they doing enough? Let me ask Professor. Is it enough? Because you are into management, you know, and these are part of it, sensitizing the people. At this level, is it enough? Because now it is going to start taking effect already. Some parents don't even understand what it is.
Most developing countries have this phobia of trial and error. It's common. By nature, developing nations are in a hurry to develop. And without gauging the overall negative impact of such a decision, ordinarily, in policy science, you subject a given program of policy to public gauge. You throw it out to the consumers, parents and the students. They are the consumers and the teachers. They will give you a feedback. In policy science, you put the feedback into the barometer of analysis to see whether you can achieve, say, from 65% success if you start now, or if you start in the next 2 or 3 years. What is going to be the margin of error you're likely to run into by being in a hurry? But because by nature we must develop. That's one point. The second point has to do with it's not going to be easy to improve the quality of education. I've said it, I'm saying it for the 10th time. The certificate is a mere letter of introduction.
Yes, you have said that before.
It is your surrender value at work that determines your worth. You can see in the bureaucracy, some people can move to a 3-floor building 30 times a day, going up and coming down, going up and coming down, pretending to be working.
Okay. Professor, I'm going to come in there because we need to take. I know you still have more points to make. Saying, but I want him to say it properly because we just sit there and Professor, we're going to come back to that because we need to take a break right now. We need to take a break. We also want to gauge opinions of Nigerians on this as well, and then we'll come back and talk, and then Professor can, give us more. And I'm sure that people can also learn from it. So Daytime Talk is going to take a short break now, and then we'll be right back. Don't go away.
This is Peace Hotels Lagos, the ultimate business leisure hotels. Peace Hotels parades state-of-the-art and recreational facilities from the closet of your room. You can browse through the internet and make direct international calls because we also operate the PTO license for Peace Talk wired telephone line. Peace Hotels is home away from home with its 5-star altitude, its beautiful ambience, spacious parking lot, furnished suites, cocktail bar, restaurant, with African and intercontinental cuisine and Chinese delicacies, and a multi-purpose hall for your AGMs, seminars, and workshops. And Peace Hotels is just 15 minutes drive from the airport in Lagos. For your bookings, log on the website www.peacehotels.com. Peace Hotels, blazing the trail of blending business with pleasure in the hospitality industry.
This is 43-year-old Olajide Ajani Aki, who has been diagnosed with anemic heart failure. Since financial constraints have not made his dialysis consistent, it has been medically observed that this fatal chronic disease of heart failure may soon become terminal, and once this happens, dialysis may not be useful again. Hence the need for an urgent kidney transplant.
Dialysis, my, This is very expensive. At times, I take 2 to 3 pints of blood during a session of dialysis, which costs up to 120,000 naira.
So pathetic is Akib's situation that he can no longer receive hospital treatment as he could not pay his outstanding bills. With his last line of defense cut off, this father of 4 is facing the inevitable, except
I appeal to Nigerians, please help me. I've spent so much. In fact, I've sold all my belongings. Same for my family. The kidney transplant they say will cost 5 million naira. Please, for God's sake, I'm at the end of the road. Please help me. Please save my life.
you come to his aid by sending what God lays in your heart to this account. Akib Ajani Olajide, account number 200607854. A life is at stake and you can make a difference.
All right, you're welcome back. Now, on Daytime Talk, earlier today we went to the street of Lagos to sample opinions of Nigerians on these newly introduced 39 subjects by way to our syllabus. So this is what we gathered.
WAEC is right because by now they're supposed to have rewrite our syllabus because it's long overdue. We have been teaching the same thing all over again. So we need something that will increase the entrepreneurial skills so that people will be based on white collar job again all the time. So I think it's something that's going to increase their skills that they can stand on their own. I think it's okay. It just the WAEC just needs how to spread it so that it will not be too much, it will not be too overburdened on the student.
Why adding more now? If you add more, that means you want to make everything compounded. The little ones they have, they don't do anything. They are not sponsoring them. If you add these 39 subjects now, the students are still going to pay for it. So why adding it? Let them make education easy for Nigerians so that anybody that wants to school here in Nigeria will be happy going to school.
The issue of overburdening the students is not there for now. Because what they now do is that they take the trade subject from their major subjects. That is, for example, if you are doing agric science, you will pick one of the trade subjects from agric. If you are doing technical, you are taking the technical department, then you take one from your area. For example, in electronics, you can take out electronic installation and take it as your trade subject and leave out electronics. So with that, I think we are able to cope.
The students cannot cope up with it because the 9 subjects they are into now, they don't read, they don't have time to read, and at the end of the what we had in those days when we have technical schools. So if you want to go to technical schools, you go there, you do technical things, you don't do sciences. So there is no total combination, there is a total separation.
Because the teachers that have been teaching those people, they have been the normal teachers. I think there should be training avenue for people to be trained so that they will come and impact the knowledge into these upcoming Nigerians.
If anything at all, WAEC should be interested in streamlining the number of subjects and make them more realistic, as in more inclined to the realities of today, where students can, what they see outside is what they get to learn in the 4 walls of the classroom.
All right, you're welcome back. Those were the opinions of Nigerians. Professor Samuel, let me come back to you. Let's start from there. From what you heard, what's your opinion? Because it looks like a lot of people don't even understand it. So what's the problem?
That explains the reason for aggressive sensitization. Very aggressive. See, because you can see that they are yet to catch the fever. And the populace is yet to catch a fever surrounding a policy, the implementation, both the anticipated and the actual outcomes, that like investing billion alone within jeopardy. We can see that most Lagosians or most Nigerians are not aware of the benefits and the advantages of the rule and the present
paradigm shift. Okay, Mrs. Fabaro, what's your view?
I think what we just have to do, like what Papa said, is that we have to sensitize people.
Whose responsibility would this be?
The government will do that, teachers will do it, students will do it, the media will do it, just like what you are doing now. Because people still think it is the old system, where we have to choose some subjects, then you now add, no, it's not, they've changed. Now we have another 5 compulsory subjects: English language, general mathematics, then 1 trade subject, civic education, then computer studies. All these 5 are compulsory. We call them cross-cutting subjects. All students must offer them. Then after that, those 5, we now calm down. Science students will now pick.
The electives.
Depending on on which course you are studying. If you need chemistry, physics, you pick 2 you pick 3. Then the humanities, those in the arts, they pick 3, making 8. Then those who want to go into technology will pick 3. Then you now go for 1 elective. So it's not a matter of, in the olden days, you have to offer Yoruba, offer biology. No. That's not the issue now. The issue now is that we have 5 compulsory subjects, which the trade subject is 1. So you just have to add another 3 or 4.
And it's still the same number of subjects.
But it's even better than the olden days. Because now they don't want to even bother the students in offering some subjects.
But they would not need.
So we don't need to sensitize people. We have to explain more to the students too. So when they get to the hotel,
explain better to their parents.
Parents are doing what the government wants them to do now. Most parents, after the secondary school, they still send their children.
Some learn fashion designing, some catering.
Some go to the GSM maintenance, the GSM after school. But now, they don't want it to be only after school.
During school.
During school, in the 4 walls
of the school.
And not only that, they will also write it as part of the subjects at WAEC level. So they can still continue. You know, unlike, if you look at the way they are doing it, they will send them to all these artisans after the school hours. Those ones will give certificate at the end of the day, but the certificate they cannot get to anyway. They can't go to the university with the certificate. But now, the federal government, Roma, is now planning that even when you offer this subject, you can still continue. You can't just offer food and nutrition without chemistry and physics. Because once you go to study, they will
ask for it.
So we are on the right path.
Okay.
Long way for.
Mr. Adeboye, do you want to react to that, or we move on to something else? Because I'm curious about the end result of this to our exam. You know, we need to build this. One of the problems we've had is finding the root cause of poor results in our exams. You know, how will these help? Or
I recall, and I'm sure somebody watching this program will also remember, a long time ago, in Time International magazine, Ltv'S used to place an ad. We have people who check the people, who check the people, who check the people, who check the aircraft you fly in. Okay? Now, I want to ask, who are the people
checking the
check my
Yes.
So it's okay for WAEC is a responsible organization. I'm not casting any aspersion on WAEC, but you see, there is no institution that will function perfectly every time. Somewhere along the line, their success can be overwhelming, and then they begin to regress into the other side of success. If you're following me. Now, I don't know if there is anybody that can query WAEC. for their policy. That can, you know, I know they will be doing a lot of consultation. They will invite, you know, eggheads to their phone to consider what we want to do. That will be going. But then there must also be statutory checks on what everybody is doing. That's why we have MUC checking university, any RBC. Okay, and they check YX. Federal government check them too. Okay, that's fantastic because I know that.
When there is a high rate of
Failure.
No, that's
That's not.
He's not saying you should go to the
No, they check them.
Yep.
They check them.
So yes, and when you run this check, the outcome is not a private property of anybody or any institution. It should be
made
available
public.
in the public domain, and it doesn't really cost much to make anything available. In the public domain. Just upload it on the website, and the whole world, right? Throw it on a
Social media will blow it out for you.
You understand? So that's just it. But then again, the opinions of people that you have seen here is all about the absence of sensitization. A brilliant, it's like cooking a good food, and you don't have a restaurant signboard in front of your shop.
Who will come?
I'm sure that from here, YF will do something. Other stakeholders will do something, and then the public will know the great benefit that this offering from YF holds for us and our society.
Okay. Gentlemen and lady, I want to say thank you to you for coming on Daytime Talk. If I put what we have put together, what we have said in a few sentences, the fact that it is a welcome, well, it's okay, we welcome, we embrace it, it is long overdue, but there's a need for sensitization, and there's also a need to, have statutory checks, they must be checked and all that. But that the most important thing is for the stakeholders to work together, because what is most important is having the expected end. Reduce the rate of area boys and stuff on the streets of Lagos, and then trying as much as possible to enlighten people that it is not just the certificate, it's what you have, what you can offer. In fact, part of the discussion we had before we came on air is the fact that a lot of people earn more rendering services. It's easier to do. You can easily earn more and have a good livelihood when you render services. So it's a welcome thing. Once again, I want to say thank you to you, Professor Samuel, for coming. You've always been here. And I do hope that WAEC will consult you for this managerial, so that you can put them through and tell them what to do, because you have what it takes in educational management. Thank you so much.
The Ministry of Education will have to build satellite on private secondary
schools.
Because in the next 3-5 years, the failure rate at that end is likely to be high.
With the introduction of this?
They may not be able to have the same quality of teacher government
can have. So that is another point. Once again, Professor Samuel, thank you so much. Mrs. Federal, thank you so much, I must say that. And I know that we're going to see the first few results of this is going to be from the public schools. By May, June, when the exams, we will get to know how well it's been. And Mr. Adeboye, thank you so much. I know that you do a lot of online stuff, so I'm sure that you will gauge it for us online and give us the results.
I'm at your service.
All right, that's it on Daytime Talk. Today we've been taking a good look at the 39 new subjects introduced by WAEC. It's a welcome thing, but we do know that there's still need to adjust and amend, and we do hope that we get to the expected end. Thank you for being part of Daytime Talk. My name is Shola Kusoko. Have a pleasant day.
is a landmark story of a different kind. It's about the maker of landmarks, God. There's no doubt when you want something done,